Ahoy Adventurers! This is your visual recap. I'm your host, Fardello Floutman. When last we checked in on the party, we had just spoken with the bald-headed necromancer who was doing experiments from the old owl well. He and his unholy labor force of risen dead were having a bit of a metallic construct problem while we ourselves had a teeny little cursed mace problem. So we negotiated a solution. We risk our very lives to destroy magically animated killing beasts, and he'd fix a hammer. I mean, come on, a mace is just a glorified hammer. After making the totally fair and not in any way lopsided deal, we delved down into the freshly dug tunnel that Baldy the Necromancer had used his pre-owned cadavers to clear. And I really don't want to know how exactly it was dug out, because the fragility of zombies leads me to believe there's just fingers everywhere. And if I had stepped on some, I probably would have just been sick everywhere. Just, oh God. Regardless, we pressed forward, trudging through the dank soil until the dirt gave way to a stone floor. The stone floor had some creepy walls attached to it and a creepy ceiling attached to them. Toward the back, creepy corners of the room were some creepy alcoves. Inside the alcoves were some creepy metallic constructs. I don't suppose any of these things were inherently creepy, but when you just get out of an earthen tunnel bored out by undead, everything seems kind of creepy for a bit. It was in the middle of that thought that the constructs decided they had enough of being called creepy and decided to attack. I'll spare you the play-by-play of precisely how we dealt with the constructs, but let's just say we whooped that up! Afterward, we start sifting through the rubble, and I decide to begin a detect magic ritual. Crackers is breaking apart constructs, and the rest of us are going through the pieces. Joe, searching around the room, discovered some weird sconce-looking things attached to the wall on either side of a set of doors, and one in each of the alcoves the constructs had come out of. We end up finding two decanter-top looking pieces that look like they may fit into the sconces. Perf and I volunteered to try putting the plugs on the sconces while the rest of the team prepares to attack. We hear a strange hum and suddenly the doors are opened. On the other side of the doors was what appeared to be a common area or lounge. There were a few places to sit, a shimmering portal on the far wall, and on an ornate side table was what appeared to be a ledger. Aelar attempted to read it, but he only saw a jumbled mess of elven characters. However, I, an intellectual, made perfect sense of it. I was able to read the text, largely due to my deep roots in magic and magic accessories. The basic gist was this area was home to a collection of wizards, and this was their magical repository. Access to the area was based on an individual's power and rank in the organization. Joe walks over and tries to read the runes near the shimmering door. Loosely translated, they mean, insert magic here. Joe utters a cantrip and the bottom rune lights up. The shimmery door now appears to let us through. This leads into Joe and Perf and I trying various cantrips in an effort to light up more runes. While we're doing nerdy stuff, Crackers and Patience decide she should go through the shimmery door. Considering what Crackers does if left to her own devices, we decide to follow. The room on the other side of the shimmery door is filled with books and alchemy sets and paintings of wizards. I begin my detect magic ritual, as you do, while Joe begins searching the room. Joe finds a super sweet golden statue of an elf holding a spear, and we also find a book about runes. According to the book, the room we lit up translated to menial, so yay for us that we could light up the noob lamp. We identified the next rune as moderate, and apparently we're not that cool because none of us got that rune to light up. The third rune was something akin to really, really hard, don't even bother trying because you suck, idiot. Mildly discouraged by the rune translations, we decide to leave the lounge. We also learn that we're not able to remove the decanter tops unless we first close the doors. Just before we learn this, Crackers decides to throw the heads of the constructs into the lounge, which actually turned out to be a pretty good idea because the next thing we learned was that if you put the decanter top in the side alcove sconce, the constructs start trying to put themselves back together. I don't like how this is playing out, so I try and remove the top. No can do. Then Crackers tries. She can't either. So she starts trying to attack the sconce. As you do. The sconce breaks. As they do. The parts stop trying to reassemble and I can unclench just a little bit. Behind where the sconce once stood lied a metal pipe, and Crackers reached into the pile of construct parts and grabbed a foot, and then proceeded to use that to chisel out the stone for a few feet behind the pipe before it angled downward as she decided to give up. Really, we all decided to give up. It's been a long day. We reopened the lounge, and the sleepers sleep in there while the guards guard outside. I take the time to identify the golden statue, which is apparently blessed with a type of divination magic called augury. If we focus on the statue and think about a course of action, the statue will give us an idea of, roughly how things will turn out. Didn't seem to have much power left in it, so we're hoping to get maybe 3 uses out of it. After some light cajoling with El Necromancer, we get him to send one of his zombie minions down with our freshly decursed mace, and we send it back with the 2 construct heads. We give Crackers a few minutes alone with the new weapon, and when she's done with it, we find out it's a magical mace. Yeah, anyways, it can cast lesser restoration once a day, and it can purify food and water as a ritual, which, pretty sweet prize for killing some mechanical doodads.
It was not that simple. Most of the party lost consciousness, and Joe almost died.
Shut up! Yeah, I know. Alright, fine. It was tough, but we got this bitchin' new hammer. And we decide to head back to family. After the first day of travel, we rested and got jumped by bugbears. Let's just say we won. This has been your visual recap. I'm Fidelio Floutman. Tune in next week to find out what this band of idiots has done, because we're all just a bunch of murder hobos. Good night.